Campaign so that Brett Favre could be a volleyball girl dad and get a free stadium with the help of the freaking governor. Yes.
Right? Like, I feel like we're taking crazy pills with some of this stuff, and this is why I don't understand it. It's silly. People, like, just, I don't know.
Look, with regards to, like, the Suns story, a lot of people had that for a long time. Like, a lot of people had heard whispers about that for a long time. I looked into it back in 2018, and I had one source who couldn't talk on the record, and that source was trying to put me in touch with other people who could, but they couldn't. But I'd heard about Sarver's, like, conduct.
Like, how long do you think Baxter's had this?
As someone who's, internet friendly with Baxter, no comment. But yeah. I'll just tell you that a lot of people who have been, like, a lot of, like, the whispers were out there. In a story of this scope, like, reporters hear things and can't report them until they've got them. Baxter spoke to 70 people in the Suns organization.
Yeah.
That takes time. Do the math. How long does it... Think about how long it would take you to make 70 calls to people you've never met.
Well, I do that all... how many calls do I make for the pod a week?
One of the big story that I wrote in 2021 about the bad YouTube man.
Yeah.
The reporting total, getting people on the phone, just the getting people on the phone part of it, not the watching hours of YouTube video, just that part. It took, from when I started, I would say 7 months because, like, I spoke to over 40 people. Not all of them were, like, quoted in the story. Not all of them were used on background. Some of them.
But that's how it works. Like, some make it, some don't.
I had to get 40 people to talk to you who don't know you. It takes me going to one person. I'm saying, do you know anyone who can talk about this? They give you a list of 3 or 4 names, or 1 or 2. You call or you email those people. Some of them answer, some of them don't. When the ones you speak to, they point you to 3 or 4 more people, and so on and so on and so on. That's how you build up a network of people to talk to you about this. But that took one of the last people quoted in the story I spoke to, I think, 5 days before it ran on the record. But that was 5 days before the story ran. That's how long it took to talk to all those people. Now, someone with working for ESPN, that'll open up a few more doors, but it takes time to get that many people in calls and emails. So it's a long process. I'll just leave it at that. But
can I read Sarver's statement, by the way?
Sure, go
for it. His parting statement
bad.
Before it came out that he was going to sell. Like,
it's bad.
It's so bad. Quote,
he's being canceled, man. Look,
my goodness.
He's
being canceled by getting $1.6 billion.
So Robert's 2.6. He's going to have to sell.
Well, no, he's not. I think he only has a 1.6 stake, right?
He's got a 30% stake, so yeah, he's not going to actually get the full 2.6 of the team. But I think he is, according to NBA bylaws, he, as the majority owner, can sell the entire team and the other share, and then make an offer to the rest of the minority shareholders. He only has a plurality. He doesn't even have a majority, but that's what the fine print on the paperwork says, so he can sell it out.
And that seems like where we're going anyways. Like, every franchise is doing that now.
They're all gonna. I mean, there is word that the Knicks are going to sell. I'm very happy about that. We've discussed this, I believe.
That's the biggest sell outside of the Cowboys, right?
7 to 8 billion. The Cowboys will get more, but the Knicks are the most valuable NBA franchise pretty much every year since 2008. The Lakers have passed them a couple of years, but they're pretty much them. Look, Elon, if he doesn't buy Twitter, he could buy the Knicks. So there you go.
You don't want that, Bob.
I am embracing chaos.
He said, quote, let me read just a few lines from this.
Just go for it.
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
Have some nicotine while we do that. Go for it.
Words that I deeply regret now overshadow nearly 2 decades of building organizations that brought people together.
Words that I regret saying over 2 decades. Going on. Continue.
And strengthen the Phoenix area through the unifying power of professional men's and women's basketball. As a man of faith, I believe in atonement and the path to forgiveness. I expected...
Eric Bledsoe is what brings us together.
I expected that the commissioner's 1-year suspension would provide the time for me to focus, make amends, and remove my personal controversy from the teams that I and so many fans love. But in our current unforgiving climate, it has become...
the climate.
Oh,
it is so
God.
Unforgiving. Whoa, the climate.
It has become painfully clear that this is no longer possible. That whatever good I have done, or could still do, is outweighed by the things I have said in the past.
Which he can't do unless he's the owner of a professional basketball team.
Exactly.
That is the only way for him to do good is by bringing a title to the people of Scottsdale. It's like...
He doesn't get it, man.
Well, in his defense, when you have that much money, you have never been held account to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And now he is.
He also has had time. Like this, you mentioned how much reporting goes into this. There is no way he did not know that this was all going to come out at some point. Like he's had months and years to be like, hey, there's the way I used to do things was a problem. Contrition was a possibility a long time ago.
Yeah. Like he could very easily have learned to stop putting goats into people's offices. He had time to learn not to do that.
Right.
When you have that much money, you are walled off from consequences for any of your behavior. That's what the money is for. Mm. The money is for that you don't have to care what anybody thinks. And now someone is saying, well, you got to care a little. Mm. And I have no reporting to this effect, but if we're in the land of wild speculation, I would have a feeling that one or two of the other owners, or maybe the commissioner, were like, you should probably get out while the getting's good. Mm-hmm. But again, it's interesting. People brought up made the Donald Sterling comparison, and there's a good article that Sean Hyken wrote over at his Substack, if you want to check that out, about this, which is like, Sterling was forced to sell under some very specific circumstances. Sterling was forced to sell because there were playoff games that may have been canceled by a wildcat strike, for one. Like, all of the players were saying, actually, no. The other thing is, there was a tape. Mm-hmm. And if you ask the average fan what Sarver did, even for basketball heads, they would probably have some difficulty nailing down the details. But everybody heard the tapes. Everyone heard what he said about Magic Johnson. Everybody heard him whining and sounding exactly like Master Shake and complaining about black people. So there was a tape. There was a tape. It was a story that extended, again, outside the sports world, I don't think people know about this story. Mm. But that was on Good Morning America, and that was on 2020. And, Sterling went and did an interview, which made things worse. So there were a lot of things that got Sterling to leave. But in the end, the same thing happened. Like, his wife declared him mentally incompetent, sold the team, and the owners were like, great, we'll get Steve Ballmer in. Awesome.
Yeah. And I think, didn't the ex-wife get floor seats or, part of
She got, on three floor seats and honorary championship rings, and she's got a title that's like she's named Clippers superfan for life. I kid you not. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. And Shelley Sterling, by the way, was complicit in the years of racist housing discrimination that Donald Sterling pulled off when he was as a slumlord. She's absolutely was deeply involved in his businesses. She is not a poor, suffering spouse to a billionaire.
And I mean, look at this too. This is goes back to when people were look, Adam Silver, there are reasons to...
Adam Silver, I want to say this. Adam Silver in that press conference told the truth.
Yes.
When Howard Beck asked him, why is it that any employee of the Phoenix Suns organization who's caught doing these things would be immediately fired and probably drummed out of basketball for life? Why is Robert Sarver nearly not being held to the same standards? And Adam Silver said it's because there are different rules for you when you own the team. And in terms of the straight legalese, yeah, the NBA could get together and vote him out if they wanted to, but and again, Mark Cuban said this during when the Sterling scandal broke. They are all those same 29 other NBA owners or corporate entities You don't. None of them want people digging into their practices either. Because I'm sure, while it probably might not be as bad as what Sarver did, you'll find some stuff. None of them want to be held to account.
We just found stuff with the Mavericks.
Yes.
Really horrible stuff. We just found
really
that.
Horrible stuff. Mark Cuban is
right.
still is a member of the NBA community in high regard.
Mm-hmm.
None of them want it. None of them, Mark Cuban was like, I don't know if we should force this guy to sell. But again, the very specific circumstances made that happen. They weren't going to pull that ripcord a second time.
Yeah. It's extremely complicated. And Silver can't just say it's extremely complicated because people don't like it.
Right. He was not lying when he said, yes, when you have that much money, the rules are different.
Yeah.
That is true. That is a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there were some sponsors who were making noise. Players were starting to make noise. You got some, LeBron said some things. Draymond Green said some things. The majority owner said he started to sell. I have a feeling if he had not announced that he was putting the team on the market, those forces would have started to.
Well, Simmons said on the podcast that Jordan was looming. And that was the final one of Jordan just coming out publicly or something.
Yeah, he probably would have. Yeah, and I think they were telling Sarver, do you want this to be a story about how Michael Jordan or whomever is saying you should get out of the paint, or do you want to do it yourself? And he did. Adam Silver may have been cognizant of the fact that that's the way the wind was blowing when he gave the year-long suspension and said, well, we're suspending you for a year. That's the most we can do under NBA bylaws without a full vote by all the other owners to remove you from basketball. But guess what? I know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So, but again, I appreciate that honesty by Adam Silver. I really do.
It just made people mad, and it's well,
it made people mad. I'm like,
why are you booing? He's right.
Yeah, you should be mad.
Yeah.
But guess what? If Adam Silver had said, I, Lord God of basketball, excommunicate you for life, it wouldn't change the fact that all the other billionaires in every other industry are still going to get away with everything. So maybe you can focus your energy on the systemic issues that got us to that place. That's a bigger ask. I know, but that's where it should be. I mean, look, I get the same way whenever we get to these debates about football players being suspended. And yeah, I understand why people might be mad about Deshaun Watson only getting X number of games and then move to more in arbitration. I get that. And it may seem like he got off light compared to the scope of the alleged crimes that he committed. And yeah, it should, but a football suspension is not going to change that. There are a lot bigger. We really should if this makes you mad, put some time into addressing those issues. And if everyone's saying, well, I'm just one person, how can I do it? And I was like, I don't know. Talk to people. Ask. Volunteer. Donate money. Do something that is not involves yelling at your screens. Because do something. And no, one person alone can't do it. A mass of people maybe can over decades. Don't make me quote an Issa poem, but I might do it. I'm going to quote a haiku. Oh, snail, climb Mount Fuji, but slowly. That's right. Issa, MFers.
There you go.
Google that. Mud Club. Gang of Four.
Albert Pujols hit his 700th home run last
night. Yay, that was nice. That was a good sports story. That was awesome.